My baby sister, as your 29-year-old older sister, I fear I need to give you a difficult message. If that man wanted you, there would be little to no ambiguity. You would not be having to justify his behavior. You would not be having to initiate every single plan. You would not be in the group chat all the time being like, what does this mean? What does this mean? If you're wondering what it means nothing.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll watch several single mothers vent about men, get upset over the lack of suitors, and as always, try to blame us for the bad decisions they made themselves. We want you to smash that like button and subscribe. We're on our way to 150,000 subscribers, and with your support, we're going to crush that goal. Leave us your experience or opinion about these cases in the comments. And without further introduction, let's get started.
One time a man told me that he was going to treat me so well that I would never accept anything less from anybody else and that I would never forget him, that I would think about him every single day for the rest of my life. How fucked up is that? He was easily the best dater that I've ever gone on dates with. Every single one of our dates involved live music because I told him once how much I love live music. So the very first date we went to this little Italian place. It was so cute, so good. And he had bought tickets for a concert that night for someone I'd never seen, but he wanted to make sure I had live music. Every time I showed up at this man's house, he had a record player playing. And it was like old bluesy, folky, like red dirt country music. And we'd be dancing in his living room to this record player. And in the mornings when I would wake up, he would ask me if I want coffee and go get coffee for me and bring it back to me in bed. And we went to like this fall fun fest kind of thing. And again, live music. And he was just dancing. Like we were just dancing. Like nobody else was there. And that same night, we leave the fall fun fest and we drive, like he takes a detour home. And he stops by this lake, this little cove in a lake. And he says, Cassia, go down to the shore, take off your shoes. Do that. He opens all the doors of his truck, starts blasting music, and comes and joins me. And we just dance in the moonlight for like 30 freaking minutes. Who does these kinds of things?
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
This story sounds like I'm dreaming up a Disney movie or watching a Mexican soap opera. Dancing under the moon by the shore of a lake. Music playing from a truck with the doors open? Brother, nowadays that sounds more like a fast way to get your truck stolen, not romance. It's a nice idea in your head, but out on the streets, it doesn't work like that. Not in 2024. And here's the funniest part. When a woman describes her ideal man or what she wants him to do for her, it sounds like a fairy tale. Everything perfect, detailed, emotional. But in real life, they end up with the guy who doesn't do any of that. That's why the advice women give men about how to win them over never works. Because they say they want one thing, but they're attracted to something completely different. And the more you try to figure them out, the less you actually understand them.
I think this might ruffle a lot of feathers, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. The fact that some of you got to live in a fantasy that motherhood is amazing all the time and that there aren't moments of misery in motherhood and now you're coming to the realization is a luxury and privilege that not everyone had. You know who didn't have it? Children of immigrants, minorities, immigrants themselves, because we had to watch our mother sacrifice everything while doing so in a country that did not support us, that did not provide resources, that did not provide community. There's no way I got to live in a fantasy that motherhood is amazing all the time when I had to watch my mother get bullied at work 2 jobs, come home, take care of us, all while not being able to go back home to her home country to see her family. So no, I'm not confused about women who think that motherhood has moments of misery, and I'm not confused that motherhood is hard. How could I?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
This speech has that classic tone of, if I suffered, you can't be happy. And that's where the problem lies. Yes, it's true that many women, especially daughters of immigrants, grew up watching their mothers bust their backs working 2 jobs, facing harassment, with no support. No one denies that reality. But using that suffering as a justification to invalidate the experiences of other women who did experience motherhood with more stability isn't justice. It's resentment in disguise. In this country, many women do have stable homes and destroy them because they get bored or because Instagram sold them an empty dream of self-love based on likes and external validation. Others choose the wrong man to be the father of their children, and that's a life-changing decision. But then, is it the fault of the woman who chose well and is now happy? No. Like I said, if you spend your life carrying other people's trauma, you end up living a pain that was never yours to begin with. And that's not empathy, that's self-sabotage.
Women.
I'm a single mom to a 2-year-old, and let me tell you where I've gone wrong in every dating situation I've been in since becoming a mother. So I've been in 1.5 relationships since having my son. We're not gonna talk about the half. We're just gonna focus on the one. Number one mistake, no dating process. I feel like I want a family and I want a unit and I wanna be loved so bad. I ignore the dating process. When in reality, this is something that is so necessary. And upon reflection, I need it. I need a dating process. You need to be courted by a man. If you want a high value man, if you want a man to match your energy as a confident, successful woman, they need to court you. In my last relationship that I just recently got out of, we met and then we're inseparable, like basically living together. There was no dating process. There was no asking on a date. There was no grand gestures to show any type of courtship. And I feel like that's where the relationship went wrong, because to me, as a woman with a child, we're playing house at that point. So my emotions get 10 times more involved instead of truly slowing down and getting to know a person and getting to know what their intentions are, what their life is actually like, what their traumas are, what their triggers are, and really seeing if that person is gonna be for me. I feel like no dating process just leads to failure. And a lot of the times, I think as single mothers especially, we can want to rush into situations because of everything we have going on. And we already are one step closer to a family because we do have a child. So it makes it difficult. For myself, I have to slow down. I have to go through that dating process to truly get to know somebody. This could be months long. And I've traditionally never been that type of person. So that's something I'm gonna be implementing because I am super open to date and super open to meeting somebody who is going to be for me. I've done so much reflection over the past couple years. So let me know if you want me to make another part to this of things that I've discovered dating as a single mom.
Stop it. Get some help.
I'm not criticizing anyone for wanting a relationship, but here's what doesn't add up. She herself admits that she was with guys who didn't even put in the bare minimum effort. The father of her child, her last 1.5 relationships, they all got into her life easily. And now, after that track record, she expects the next man to come along with flowers, patience, and high-value man standards to court her. How does that make any sense? When you didn't have kids, you could afford certain luxuries, but now you have a real burden that comes with extra responsibilities. It's not about judging you. It's just reality. The man who approaches you has to take on a stepfather role, and trust me, nobody's lining up for that. That's why I'm telling you, lower your expectations a bit and adjust your approach to your real market, single fathers who aren't interested in playing games with immature women.
I'm a single mom. Of course no man is ever going to want me because I have too much baggage. I'm a single mom. Of course I'm the lowest fruit on the tree. I'm a single mom. Of course I need to be staying at home the nights that my children are with their father instead of going out socializing with friends. I'm a single mom. Of course I need to step up and finally be a parent for once. I'm a single mom. Of course I shouldn't have standards for me and my children because beggars can't be choosers. I'm a single mom. Of course I should stay with my children's father because settling for the bare minimum and letting my children grow up in a broken home is so much better than growing up in 2 homes where the parents are both happy and healthy.
Hey, bro. What? Oh, my God!
Well, congratulations if you understand it, and still choose to do the complete opposite. This woman acknowledges that being a single mother comes with consequences. She talks about having too much baggage, about being the lowest hanging fruit, but instead of owning it and acting with maturity, she jumps into a victim narrative. She gets it, but she doesn't accept it. She wants to keep living as if nothing had changed. Lady, repeating it like a mantra doesn't change reality. If you know your situation isn't the same anymore, act accordingly. You can't demand to be treated like you're free of responsibilities when you're carrying an entire life on your back. And no, it's not that beggars can't be choosers. It's that in the real market, everyone's value is based on what they bring to the table, not on what they demand. Repeat that a few more times and maybe, just maybe, it'll finally sink in.
3 things I wish I knew before I had a kid. You can be married and still give your child a terrible example of what love is supposed to look like. I've had people judge me for not being married and say to me, being married shows your child a good foundation and shows them what love is supposed to look like. Me loving myself is the example that I'm trying to show my child. I'm not saying there's anything against marriage. I'm just saying that if you think the entire foundation of your child's self-esteem is built on you possibly settling for a marriage or thinking that's all you need to show them what love looks like, you might have to reevaluate why you're married in the first place. Number 2, if your child's father is not around, that is not your fault. But what is your fault is if you feel like every guy you date needs to be your child's new father. Please leave that baby out of it. He does not need to call every guy daddy. But number 3, you don't have to settle just because you're a single parent and think that your child just needs to see you with someone. Your child seeing you love yourself is more than enough.
Here we have an empowered single mother saying she doesn't need a man, that self-love is enough. Brother, when a woman says that if the father isn't present, it's not her fault, but at the same time, she was the one who chose that man to be the father of her child, you know you're dealing with someone who refuses to take responsibility. It's not just about self-love or about raising a child by seeing their mother happy. It's about the most important decision of her life, and they failed to choose wisely. It's not like a lightning bolt got them pregnant. And the worst part is how they generalize. Now, according to their logic, every marriage is a bad example, always going to extremes to justify their situation. They conveniently ignore the fact that studies show kids raised by both a father and a mother present have far greater chances of success in life. But of course, modern feminism doesn't tell them that, because responsibility is kryptonite for women.
Women.
We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. What do you think about dating single mothers? Have you ever seen a woman admit she chose the wrong man to be the father of her children? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.